Hey guys, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that this will probably be one of the most controversial videos I've done. And I'm going to start out by saying there is no such thing as a Nawalt. There is no such thing as a good woman. And the way I'll unpack this is there's no such thing as a good cop. And the way I like to point this out is under Title 42 of the U.S. Traffic Code, it states the name vehicle refers to someone entering into commerce on the highway. The words passenger refers to somebody who has paid somebody to drive them someplace. All of the traffic codes, which you need to understand that laws are laws for a reason. Laws have been voted on by the citizens of a district and have been signed into law by the governor of that state, and if they cannot do that, code and a statute. Say you come to my house and I'm some old fuckhead and I don't want those goddamn kids walking on my lawn. So I say, well, I'm going to make a law. My law says that no kids can walk on my lawn. Well, you can't do that because the citizens of the district that you live in have to vote on it, and then it would have to be signed into law through the governor. And since nobody would do that, well, then I'm going to make it a code, or I can make it a statute. You know, and by definition, a code and a statute is not a law, which is why every time you get a ticket in the United States, it says a code violation. The reason why they've done that is because they think you're stupid enough to believe that a code violation is a violation enough for them to be able to pull you over. So, by this logic, any officer that has issued a ticket to a citizen has broken the law under the Constitution. Because, first of all, under the Constitution, the only person that has the right to legally issue tickets to somebody that is a traffic, that is driving. If you're a sheriff, you can give your authority to deputies. So that's why there's so many people driving around that are deputy sheriffs. But sheriffs are elected, deputies are not. And if I'm a citizen of a state or a municipality, I have the right under the Constitution to accept or deny the ability for a deputy sheriff to interact with me. And the thing is, how I'm breaking this down, because I can go into this more detail because this doesn't matter for me, but as an American citizen you need to understand these things. If a police officer issues a ticket to a citizen for anything, under the Constitution there's only two forms of crime. One is a crime to a person. The other is a crime to a person's property. Next, you have to show mens rea, which means that you had malicious intent, premeditated. So say an officer stops you for a stop sign violation, which is a code. It's not even a violation. And under the Title 42, it states that all of the lights, the license plates, everything, all of that is for vehicles which are entering into commerce on the highway. So therefore, those are by law and by the Constitution only taxi cabs, buses, police officers, which are state employees, truck drivers, limousine drivers, anybody who is using our roads to make a profit. That's basically what it's for. All the codes and statutes and everything, that's what they're for. I pay taxes on my gasoline so that the roads are there for me to use whenever I want. As a citizen of any country, any state, I can go and I can purchase a vehicle, which is a personal conveyance, not a vehicle. A vehicle is used like a taxi to make money. So if I buy a personal conveyance, I have the legal right under the Constitution to go drive that vehicle wherever I want to do whatever I want with it, as long as I don't harm other people and as long as I don't harm other people's property. Now, if you stop me at a stop sign and you say you didn't stop at the stop sign for what I designate as a police officer long enough, so here's a ticket for a code violation. To have that be legally binding in court, first of all, it's under the Constitution, it's not. But we'll just go with it. To have that be legally binding, you have to prove three things. You would first have to prove that while going through that stop sign, I had malicious intent and that there was somebody running down the street and I either wanted to run them down, which would be homicide or attempted murder, or I was trying to damage property in some way. Then, if you did prove that, you would have to prove that I had malicious intent and premeditated thought. So you have to prove mens rea. The thing that's most important to point out about the whole court system in the United States is under the Constitution and by law, it's been proven to be illegal. In the 1776, there was a law made that stated courts were only for military trials, which is why you'll see the flags in courtrooms with tassels on them. That's the only places you will see is military tribunals. That's the only place you'll see a flag with those on it. And the reason why I bring this up is under the Constitution, as a lawyer, this is something that's came out actually not too long ago that people are starting to realize. The public defender is only paid, and they don't make much money, but they're only paid if you plead. If you're guilty, if you're found guilty, or you take a plea. If you say you're not guilty and then you win, the public defender gets nothing. And they are paid with taxpayer money. Now, I pointed this out to a judge one time and he couldn't see it, so I had to point it out, and I broke it down like a child, and basically I treated him like an idiot because he was acting like one, or he thought I was. But I broke it down like this. I told him that all of you get paid by the same people, and that's us. So it's a conflict of interest. You can't have a court that you're bringing charges up against me saying that I'm a criminal, but I'm paying your salary. Not just one person's salary in the courtroom, because that's a conflict of interest, but all of them. And he couldn't figure out what I was talking about. So I put it to him like this, because he tried to say, I'm a elected official. I get paid for by the government. I'm a government official. And I pointed it to him like this. Where does the government get their money from? It gets their money from the citizens of the United States of America. Now, the prosecutor pointed out that he gets his money from the government and they get their money from the county. And I said, well, then where does the county get their money from? It gets their money from the constituents who live in said county, in said state, in the United States. The officer, I said, where does he get his money from? And they said, from the city. And I said, where does the city get their money from? And they said they tried to think they were smart by saying the government. And I said, yes, some of it comes from the government, but some of it also comes from the county, and some of it also comes from this city. And where does the city, the county, the state, and the government get their money from? The people. I'm the people. If I'm convicted or I plead, who does the public defender get paid for? Get paid by? They get paid for and paid by the people. Me. Therefore, you have put me on trial. You know, this is what you would say in a court of law. You have put me on trial in a courtroom filled with people who I pay their salary. Now I'm pointing all of this out. This is law. This is fact. This is in Black's Law Dictionary, if anybody wants to know this stuff. But if you are a police officer and you have issued a ticket to anybody in the United States, you are a bad cop. Therefore, every cop is a bad cop. There is no good cops. And the same can be said for women. No matter how many women act as if they are good women. There's a lot of women out there, I see them on the internet talking about how, oh, I understand the plight of the MGTOW, and I understand everything they're talking about, and they're right, and blah, blah, blah. Every woman who says fucking shit like that, who acts like, oh, I'm great with my boyfriend's great, and I can take care of myself, and my ex-husband, I didn't get any child support from him, and he's doing fine, and blah, blah, blah. Every woman that says that is like a man who is a great person, wonderful father, great man, no color distinctions, doesn't matter here, that was put in jail and would be put in solitary confinement for 6 months. The man that comes out of that 6-month solitary confinement is a broken man and would be completely different than the man that went in. And the same can be said for any of these women. These women who think they're good women. These people who think a Nawalt exists are lying to themselves. Any woman put into a situation where her husband cheated on her, or she suspected he cheated on her, or she's in this great relationship and she feels that maybe he has taken out a loan and or bought a car or done something that she didn't approve of, she would lose her fucking mind. Because women have the need, and this has only came about, I talked about this in the last video, this has only came about in the last 115 years. Women do not understand they have the power. Especially in our current situation. They have the power. And they use that fucking power. They need to know in a relationship that everything they say, everything they want, is the only thing that can happen in that relationship. If you ever think any woman will allow you to make a decision in a relationship without consulting her in any way, doesn't matter what it's for, she will lose her fucking mind. It's not allowed. You cannot make a decision on your own. I'd like to also point something else out, that for the women listening to this, I watched a video today by a really cool guy, and he was talking about if everything that's ever been created that has brought us to where we are, I talked about this in my last video, everything that's brought humanity to where we are right now has been made and created solely by a man, by men. Men got us here. Now, that can be and is a blanket statement because, as he pointed out, I like the way he put it. If you took out the men, women would be standing in a field naked. The fact is, everything that has ever been created that has got us to the point that we are now, from makeup to putting a man on the moon, was built by a man. And here's the thing. If everything that a woman has made in the world, everything she's built, everything she's made, I pointed out to him that there's a woman, actually, Stephanie, I don't know how to say her last name. She made Kevlar. And she worked on it for like 20 years. And she's the one that made Kevlar. The point I want to make about anything a woman has done was done with things that were built from a man. Okay? So this is the way I'm gonna unpack this. If you take women out of the equation, where there's no such thing as a woman, it doesn't exist. They're gone. They're out of society. Nobody even knows about them. If you take all of women out, everything we have right now, the computer, my amps, my PA system, the light bulbs, all of the stuff that I have in front of me, this wireless mouse, everything, I would still have it all. Everything. Every good piece of art, every good piece of literature, every amazing band, we would have it all. If you took all of the men away and only had women, we wouldn't have crawled out of caves and we wouldn't have had fire. That's just a fact. you know. If you are a woman watching this and you think that a woman is just as fucking good as a man, I'll put it to you like this. I'm always one that I love Ronda Rousey. I think she's a great woman. I think she has a good idea about how to talk to women that are do-nothing bitches. I love that saying that she said. But here's the thing about that. Because a lot of women, even though there's very few women that actually contribute to society, a lot of women will try to grab somebody like Ronda Rousey and point out that she's doing it and we all can do it too, which is complete fucking bullshit, and you know it. How I will put it as, any woman that thinks Ronda Rousey is just as good as a man, I'll put it to you like this. A high school senior that is a wrestler, or maybe has done martial arts since he was like 10 years old, something like that, doesn't work out very much, was on the football team, maybe basketball team too, maybe was varsity, has a scholarship to college to play football, we'll say. Just some punk kid, right? Maybe around the same size as Ronda Rousey. If you put that child in a ring with Ronda Rousey, he would fucking kill her. It's just a fact. It doesn't take much of a man to harm a woman. You know, there's these big butch lesbian women that would fucking kill me, you know. But if you put a man the same weight, same height, same size in a ring with a woman with half the skills, she would get killed. That's just a fact. So all these women that think, oh, we're great, we're wonderful, they're lying to themselves. It's stupid. Now, the reason why women are so upset about MGTOW and about men's rights activists are something very simple. There is, just through the law of averages, there is actually more women on the planet than men. Which means, because of the way women have been raising men to be boys and not understand what men are, the amount of men left in our society is non-existent. There's very few men who are men. They're boys looking for a mommy. And women have also been raised by women that are single parents, especially in the last 40 years. Now, because of this, it's very hard for a woman to find a man. Typically what they're looking for nowadays is a sperm donor. They're just looking for some guy. So a lot of the men who are real men, who are smart, who are wise, who have ingenuity, who want to build things and improve our society, are MGTOW. These men are smart. They understand what's going on. They're tired of it, and they don't want anything to do with them. And that's what pisses them off most about men's rights, is they want total control, total domination of men and the family life. And they're getting it through legal courts. But what's happening is, because of that, many men are just walking away. And the problem is the men that would make good fathers, good role models to their children, who would raise them up and love them and love the mothers and treat them like people and humans, are MGTOW. And these men who are actual men who aren't, I talked about this a little bit in my last video, but I'll break it down a little bit more. Men who watch sports, who think playing sports is manly, are completely wrong. That is close to a euphemism, because you can. This is what we've turned ourselves into in the last 100 years, because 100 years ago football wasn't a thing. When women started to get the vote, started to do all these things, men tried to show how manly they were through exterior activities. Instead of being a man, they're trying to show that they're a man. And how they do that is by doing things that have been shown in our society to be associated with being a man. But it's not actually being a man, you know. Like, I always break things down. I'm a very logical person, so I always like to break things down into their simplest possibilities. I run in the grass and I throw a piece of leather with air in it. And other men chase me, and that makes me manly. You know? The same as the guy that shot the lion, you know, Cecil the lion. I'm a man because I go to another country. I sit in a truck with a gun, and I shoot an animal from 400 yards away, and I have the gall to say that that's a sport. It's sporting. That's a sport. Typically, a sport has two people. You know? Kind of like a game, you know? If you're trying to play poker with one person, that's not poker. It's solitaire. Okay? So, if you think you're a sportsman because you go out and shoot animals from 400 yards away and say, I'm a hunter. You're not a hunter. Sorry. A hunter is a mountain lion, a tiger, you know, something that can run out in the field and take down a gazelle with its teeth. That's a hunter. Okay? You're not a hunter. You're a sniper. You know, you're, as far as I'm concerned, as a vegan, you're a killer, nothing more. You know, and if you like to do that all the time, every weekend, you're a serial killer. That's all you are. You're no different. You're just killing animals instead of people. And it's not that far of a stretch to see somebody like that from a military background killing people. You know, but this is why I say this video, it will be controversial, because I'm kicking everybody in the nuts, you know, basically. But the idea of what a man is now is so far diluted that we have these activities that we think show that you're a man, you know? Like, instead of teaching your child, your son or your daughter, how to survive in the world and give them real world information, we've come to a point where a father plays basketball with their son and throws a ball. If you're a father, you are meant to go out in the front yard and throw a baseball to your son, and that's a father. If you make money and you bring it home and you give it to your wife so that she can pay all the bills and buy her nice little bag and buy food for the kids, and then you go out in the front yard and throw a baseball to your son, you're a father. That's what we've came to in just 115 years. That's fucking sad. If you like this video, share, like, and subscribe. Comment in the section below if you got anything you want me to do videos on. Leave that down in the section below. Hope you guys have a nice day.